In July of 2014, Florida State law professor Dan Markell was murdered in his Tallahassee driveway, shot execution style in the middle of a bitter custody battle following his divorce from Wendy Adelson. Prosecutors say that Wendy's mother, Donna Adelson, the matriarch of a powerful South Florida family, became the architect of a deadly conspiracy. Emails and recordings revealed Donna's obsession with relocating Wendy and her 2 young sons to Miami. The only obstacle in the way was Dan Markell. She allegedly enlisted her son, Charlie Adelson, who recruited intermediary and lover Catherine McBanoa to hire hitmen. Now, over a decade later, Donna Adelson, 75 years old, is on trial facing charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation, accused of orchestrating a murder-for-hire plot born of custody and control. Wendy denies involvement and has not been charged. And tonight we have all the big moments from court, including testimony from Donna's best friend. But first, in a sensational courtroom showdown, pop music icon Cardi B facing a $24 million civil lawsuit brought by former security guard Imani Ellis, who claims the singer assaulted her, spitting, scratching, and degrading her during a 2018 OB/GYN visit. Cardi took the stand, vehemently denying all physical contact, insisting the encounter was a fiery verbal exchange and that Ellis was the aggressor. The trial has exploded online, viral moments including a wig-changing, shocking wardrobe reveals, and Cardi's unforgettable performance on the witness stand. All the evidence is now in, and it's time to hear from the jury. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. It's a verdict night. A verdict in the Cardi B assault case. We'll get to all the big updates in the Donna Adelson murder-for-hire trial, but let's start with the verdict. The jury deliberating for 55 minutes, less than an hour. That's fast. No matter how short the trial is, that is fast to come to a decision that quickly. Let's get right to it. Here it is, the verdict in the Cardi B assault trial.
Section A, assault and battery. Question 1, did plaintiff Imani Ellis prove all of the following elements of battery? 1, defendant Belcalis Marlenes Almanzar, Ms. Almanzar, touched Ms. Ellis in the intent to harm or offend Ms. Ellis. Number 2, Ms. Ellis did not consent to being touched. Number 3, Ms. Ellis was harmed or offended by Ms. Almanzar's conduct. And 4, a reasonable person in Ms. Ellis' situation would have been offended by the touching. Answer, no. Question 2, did Ms. Ellis prove all of the following elements of assault? Number 1, Ms. Almanzar acted with the intent to cause harmful or offensive contact with Ms. Ellis. Number 2, Ms. Ellis reasonably believed that she was about to be touched in a harmful or an offensive manner. Number 3, Ms. Ellis did not consent to Ms. Almanzar's conduct. Number 4, Ms. Ellis was harmed. And number 5, Ms. Almanzar's conduct was a substantial factor in causing Ms. Ellis's harm. Answer, no.
No is the equivalent of like not guilty when you're being accused of something in a civil case. Here, no liability for Cardi B. It's a win. It is a win. And remember, the plaintiff didn't need to prove that Cardi B did this beyond a reasonable doubt. The burden, the standard, much lower in a civil case because it's about money. It's about damages. It's not about taking away someone's liberty and their freedom. So afterwards, of course, Cardi B spoke to the public.
I did not touch that woman. I did not touch that girl. I didn't lay my hands on that girl. And with that being said, this time around, I'm going to be nice. The next person that try to do a frivolous lawsuit against me, I'm going to countersue. And I'm going to make you pay. Because this is not okay. I think people have like this misinterpretations of celebrities. Like it's like, oh, well, we can ask for this and they're going to settle. You don't work at home and you don't work all day and you don't work for your money to give out your money. So don't ever think that I'm just gonna give you my money that I work hard for. I don't lay in bed all day. I work all day, and I work hard for my money, for my kids, and for people I take care of. So don't you ever think that you're gonna sue me and I'm just gonna settle and just give me my money. It's not gonna happen.
Tell them, Cardi. Tell them,
I
Cardi.
do also want fans at home, though, not to find their social media, her family's social media, her social media, and bother her. I hope that this is something that I leave behind, that she leave behind. Don't go bother her. Don't be talking about her. Don't be talking about how she look. Don't call her no nasty names. Let's just put this behind, but I'm giving a warning. I am not that celeb that you're gonna sue and you think it's gonna settle. I'm not gonna settle, especially when I'm super, completely innocent. I know I got a little reputation, but I swear to God, I'm innocent. I swear to God.
We believe you, Cardi.
Like I'm really innocent for real.
How about that? That's something you rarely see, but it's like a warning shot to anyone else out there who is going to sue Cardi B. She's not going to settle. She's not going to settle. You're going to go to trial. You're going to need to prove your case if, in fact, you've been wrong. Interesting that she chose to quote Donna Summer there, working hard for the money, and she's not just going to give it away. She's got to give it to her lawyers to defend her, but she's not going to give it to you if you sue her. So this is a huge victory for Cardi B. There were problems with the plaintiff's case, big problems with the plaintiff's case in terms of the independent witnesses who testified. But in the end, it's tough to beat a celebrity in L.A. It is, especially when they testify and they get up there and they come across as likable, which is what she did during the course of this trial. She was the star of the case. It was her testimony that I think resonated, that people believed or understood more so than the plaintiffs. And the plaintiff walks empty-handed away from the courthouse. All right, let's bring in our think tank, gets reaction to this verdict tonight. Trial attorney, former police lieutenant Rick King is with us. Also, former federal prosecutor, president of the West Coast Trial Lawyers. He's out there in La La Land. Nima Rahmani. And criminal defense attorney, former district attorney Matthew Mangino. Great to see everyone. All right, I'm going to start with Mr. L.A. Nima Rahmani. Are we back to the place where, you know what, celebs get the advantage, get the home court advantage in Los Angeles?
That's absolutely right, Vinny. And I'm a former federal prosecutor, but I'm a current personal injury lawyer. And juries in Los Angeles, they absolutely love celebrities. And if you get a quick verdict in a civil case, that's almost always the defense verdict, because jurors need time to find liability, then prove damages. And you touched upon a couple of issues in the case. You got the celebrity factor. You have the two independent witnesses. You have the doctor who was there and the receptionist, both of whom said none of this didn't happen. But there were a few other mistakes that were made by Miss Ellis and her lawyers. If you're injured, you gotta go to the doctor right away. You can't put it off. That's what people who are hurt do. And they're experts. They hired them way later. This happened in 2018. You can't have your expert examine your client years after the fact and come to a conclusion about medical causation. And also importantly, Vinny, you can't ask for $24 million for a scratch, some plastic surgery, and some psych treatment. That's just way too much. You lose all credibility. So this case was lost from the beginning, not to mention your celebrity factor. Look, I've sued a lot of celebrities. I've never sued Cardi B, but you got to make sure you come correct if you go after one of them here in L.A.
Yeah, was Cardi B the difference here, Rick?
Oh, I think so. I mean, other than the things that Remy had just talked about, I think that the witnesses were huge. I think the fact that the non-existent scratch was a thing in this. When the defense lawyer in his closing argument said, "Hey, you're going to get this picture. You're going to take it back. If you find a scratch, let us know, because we'll be the first time we see it." And so things like that, when you really have like evidence that you can point to and witnesses who say that didn't happen, but you touched on something though, Vinny. Cardi B really was humanized in this. Despite the wardrobe changes and the wig changes, when she testified, you liked her. She was believable. And I think that for all those factors, I think we end up with this verdict today.
All right. Matthew Mangino, do you think the jury got it right in terms of what happened here? Yes or no?
Oh, yes. I mean,
wait. You know I got something I'm going to throw at you now. So you believe that Cardi B was not the aggressor in this. There was nothing physical that happened. Let me show you what happened outside the courthouse during deliberations, okay? Take a look.
Hey, Cardi, you're beautiful.
Thank you.
Cardi, insiders are claiming that Offset is publicly bragging about getting you pregnant for the 4th time. Do you foresee any paternity issues with Stephon Diggs?
Stop disrespecting me.
On the microphone, please.
Cardi, your court look is amazing. Who are you wearing?
I still love you, even though you just do some stuff that...
I don't care. You're disrespectful. Don't do that. Do you see women asking those type of questions to me?
No,
You see
ma'am.
women asking those questions to me.
It's legit.
Why do you feel as a man you get to ask me those type of questions? Act like you have some manners. And your mama taught you, respect women.
All right, Matthew Mangino, there she grabbed a pen and threw it at the man who was asking what she called the nasty question about paternity of her child. Do you still think that the jury got it right in what happened at the OBGYN incident?
Yeah, no question, Vinny. That doesn't change my mind in any manner. I mean, this case was a dog from day one. And I think when Cardi B gave her press conference after, and she gave this warning, you know, she's not going to settle cases, so don't try to sue her. I think that's what this was. This was essentially a money grab. They thought there would be, you know, some payment, and they'd walk away and it'd be over. But no, she pushed it to trial, and the plaintiff had a dog of a case. You had 2 independent witnesses that said there was no assault. It just was a bad case from the get-go, and there was never going to be a chance for this plaintiff to recover against Cardi B.
Is throwing a pen at someone an assault? Just
Only
curious.
if it hits them.
It's got to hit them. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure if it did or did not hit them. Here's what Cardi B had to say about Court TV.
How you like the Court TV coverage, Cardi?
They got good angles of me. They have good angles.
Court TV angles was amazing. Can I get that on tape?
Court TV, you have some good angles of me now.
Court TV?
Except for the first day.
I had you covered, though.
Except for the first day.
I had you covered, though.
Yes, you did.
All right, Court TV had the good angles. So it seems she was very cognizant of the attention this case was getting, Nima. What do you think of the message that she sent afterwards? Don't sue me.
Well, look, she doesn't like to get sued, and you know, obviously she had to spend her time there, but we're seeing more and more celebrities that are putting their foot down, right? We cover the Gwyneth Paltrow case here on Court TV, right? Her lawyer asked for $1 there. Johnny Depp, obviously he was the plaintiff in the case that got all the attention here, but he was originally a defendant there in Europe. So look, there's a lot of lawsuits. Again, I'm not saying that they're all frivolous or they're all a money grab, but if you're going to file, you got to have evidence. It doesn't matter that you're going to go after a celebrity because they have money, they can pay their lawyers, they may put their foot down, and they may drag you through trial. So you better have the cards. Doesn't matter if it's a criminal case, if you're a prosecutor, or if you're a civil plaintiff's lawyer. And look, celebrities, they're just like us, Vinny, and they love true crime. I've represented a bunch of them too, and they've asked me about many of the cases we've covered here on Court TV. They're fans just like everyone else.
All right, Rick, let's take a listen to the plaintiff speaking after losing this trial.
Ms. Amati, are you disappointed with the verdict?
Not at all. I don't think that it reflects the truth, but I'm not disappointed. We know that the justice system is sometimes flawed, and unfortunately, that was the case for me. Like I said, I still stand firm on my position. I still stand firm on my attorney. I think we fought a good fight, but like I said, more importantly, it's about accountability. I had my day in court. I showed up. I held my head high, and I can walk away and say that I showed up, and she had to look me in the eye. I had to look her in the eye, and we did our best.
Are you sorry you brought the case in retrospect?
Not at all. Not at all.
All right, Rick, what do you think, who do you think really instigated and escalated whatever was happening between these two women? Do you think it was the plaintiff, like Cardi B said, or Cardi B, like the plaintiff said? I'm not talking about whether or not there's a physical altercation, but who do you think escalated things between these two women on that day?
So I tend to believe, based on the testimony that I listened to, I feel as though as a security guard, you're supposed to be protecting against the very thing that they're accusing you of doing. They shut down this doctor's office in the late afternoon so that Cardi B could come in unmolested, as it were, to see the doctor. And by you with your cell phone, taking pictures on a different floor, having to be, as the Dr. Finke testified to, 35 to 45 seconds to get you to get back on the elevator to go back where you belong. To me, that makes you the aggressor. If this had happened at her workstation and Cardi B was standing there at her workstation and this whatever happened, then she's got a better argument.
Makes you the aggressor in terms of taking pictures, but Matthew Mangino, let's say that she's taking the pictures. What is an appropriate response from Cardi B at that moment if she doesn't want her picture taken? And I understand why she wouldn't. Like, I get it, and I get the role of the security guard, but what should the appropriate response be? And do you think that's what actually happened here?
Well, I think her response was outrage. She was mad. She said things that maybe were hurtful, but they certainly didn't give rise to an assault. I mean, if you're going to file a lawsuit because you've been assaulted, you should know whether your nose or your cheek was injured, and there should be some visibility of this disfigurement that you're asking for $24 million for. So I mean, again, this case was going nowhere right from the outset, and Cardi B, maybe she didn't handle herself in the most appropriate manner. But there's no question that she did not physically assault him, because we know 2 disinterested witnesses said that she didn't. And in fact, one of those disinterested witnesses may have been injured by the plaintiff in this case. So it's a bad case. It shouldn't have even gone to trial, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, it seems like we're in consensus. The jury got this one right. Case wasn't proven. At the end of the day, Cardi B, we may see another trial. She's not going to settle, so this may just be season 1 of Cardi B and these civil cases. Rick King, Nima Rahmani, Matthew Mangino staying with us. When we come back, we're going to talk about Donna Adelson and her defense. It wasn't Family and Friends Day today. It was just Friends Day today. We'll talk about the friends of Donna who testified, plus coming up next hour.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, we continue our in-depth coverage of the case against Donna Adelson and a crucial witness who has lied on the witness stand. Can you tell when Catherine McBanoa is lying? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates. Tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law.
Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
The Matriarch Mastermind murder trial. Live coverage weekday mornings on Court TV.
First, you were friends with her, obviously, when Wendy was going through her divorce.
Yes.
During that time period, through the divorce, and up to the time that Danny Markell was killed, you're aware that he was murdered?
Yes, I am.
Okay. At any time during that period, did she ever say she wanted to have Danny Markell killed?
Never.
Ever say she wanted him to be harmed?
Never.
Who is that woman testifying for Donna Adelson? It's her best friend. They've been best friends for years now. As a matter of fact, her home is where Harvey and Donna watched a lot of Charlie's trial from her home over in Naples, Florida. Amazing. So her best friend becomes one of her witnesses in the case. Did she help? Did she hurt? What did she say? Let's bring in Court TV anchor Julie Janae live from outside the courthouse in Tallahassee, Florida. Well, that's good. We've seen cases of defendants where their friends don't even show up. So you've got to give it to Donna that at least her best friend and her husband showed up on behalf or for Donna during her case. What did she have to say?
Oh, yeah, she had the friends in the house. This is Donna's inner circle that we're hearing from. 3 friends in total testified out of the 8 today, and Ann Cunningham was witness number 1. She not only was able to tell this jury that Donna was very surprised and upset when she learned that Dan Markel had been shot back in July of 2014, but she also was able to give her state of mind at that time in 2014, but also closer in time, like around the time that Charlie Adelson's verdict came down. I mean, this was a big focal point today inside of that courtroom. I noticed jurors writing about certain things, but not so much during Ann Cunningham's testimony. Let's take a listen to what she had to say about what Donna was thinking or dealing with after Charlie's verdict.
Mrs. Cunningham, we were talking about the fact that you were speaking to Mrs. Adelson after the verdict came out about her son being convicted, correct?
Yes.
Was she upset about that?
Yes.
Was she crying?
Yes.
Was she, did she appear to be distraught about the circumstances?
Yes. She was considering taking her own life.
Okay.
You know, and this isn't testimony that we haven't heard before in this trial. It has come out multiple times that Donna either said on the open call that she did not want to be around anymore, especially with her son being in the position that he was in. She said things like, we'll do it together. But Ann Cunningham was also able to talk about the extortion theory. We're getting a sense of whether or not the defense is actually going to go that route, if they are going to lean in to Charlie's extortion theory that he had on the stand, which wasn't successful. But here's this witness being asked specifically about what she knew about it during the last 11 years.
Did she ever tell you that she was being extorted in reference to Mr. Markel's murder?
Eventually, yes.
Okay, and when you say eventually, when did she tell you that?
We were on a trip to Japan together.
Okay, and when was the trip to Japan?
We took so many trips, I'm not exactly sure of the year.
Was it between the murder and the first arrests?
I don't recall.
Okay. And when she told you that she was being extorted, then naturally you learned that she knew who had killed Dan Markel.
No.
Obviously, it's the people that are extorting her, right?
She didn't know what. Are you talking about? Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
She was forced to make payments to the people that killed Dan Markel.
Yes.
That's what the checks were all about, right?
I don't know about the checks.
Well, when she told you she was being extorted, if it wasn't about the checks, how was she being extorted?
She was. I'm confusing that with the bump. I believe that Charlie was being extorted by Catherine.
Prior to the bump, you knew that Charlie was being extorted by Catherine.
No, I believe it was afterwards.
After the bump, you learned that Charlie was being extorted by Catherine.
I'm not sure of the timeline.
Okay. And when you learned that Charlie was being extorted by Catherine, you learned that your friend, your best friend, Donna Adelson, was also being forced to write these checks as payment to the killers that were extorting.
I don't recall.
A lot of dates to keep up with in this case. She's talking about 2 different time periods, really. The bump is this that happened in 2016, 2 years after Dan Markel's death, when someone posed as a gang member to say that he was trying to blackmail the Adelsons, but they eventually believed it was police and didn't do anything about it. The extortion theory only came out in 2023 at Charlie's trial. Vinny, Donna Adelson was even found through the Google searches to have Google searched blackmail versus extortion right before Charlie's trial, seemingly not knowing what the difference was. But here her friend seems to say that she knew about it at some point, perhaps before that.
It is confusing. You know, her recollection isn't clear, and that, you know, we're 11 years later into all this, and they traveled together to Japan, but they were not going to travel together to Vietnam. What did she say about Vietnam? What did these witnesses say?
Vietnam, that was the buzzword today. I really felt that the majority of the time we spent on the 8 witnesses today, it was focused on things not that Donna did in the 8 years after Dan Markel's death, but it's really in the last 3 years where Charlie has been convicted, and now she starts taking matters perhaps into her own hands, according to the prosecution. And that includes this one-way trip to Vietnam. So someone was brought in to talk about the conversation and explain away, because remember, the prosecution says she was trying to flee the country because she didn't want to be arrested. The defense says she wasn't trying to leave. She just wanted to take a trip to clear her head. Let's listen.
When you sat down to assist with the reservations, what did you discover?
The ironic thing was that the round trip was a fraction more than one way, and I suggested, since you don't know when you're coming back until sometime in January, book a one-way. And I remember commenting to Harvey, I said, I'd be willing to bet it's cheaper to fly from Vietnam to the United States than it is from the United States to Vietnam.
So there's the explanation from the defense through this friend who helped her with everything that she needed. So we have the open call where she's saying, I'm looking specifically for somewhere that doesn't have extradition, and that's why she chose Vietnam. But Vinny, unless she takes the stand, we may not hear her excuse that we heard during the pretrial portion, which is she wanted to go somewhere without extradition so she wouldn't get caught up in their jail system. If they wanted to arrest her, she would get the warrant and she would just fly back, is her claim.
Yes, and save some money, right? It's a little bit cheaper if you buy two one-way tickets, especially one way from Vietnam to the United States. I get it. Save a buck here and there. All right, let's talk about the bar mitzvah. I thought this was a big deal today, and it looks like a bar mitzvah in a family is always a big deal, but it seems like this one may be very big for the defense, seemingly, right? That this is what they're kind of like really leaning on as to why she would come back.
Exactly. They are, again, really focusing on this flight issue. It seems that the defense believes that this is the worst evidence against Donna Adelson, which might not be a wrong position because the state didn't have the amount of evidence that they needed to come after her until she was headed to Vietnam, it seems, because they hadn't made a move on arresting her until that moment. So the defense spent a lot of time today trying to say, look, it was not flight. She was going to come back, and it's because of this January, she left in November, a January bar mitzvah that was happening for her youngest grandson. So take a listen to that question to the same friend who helped with the Vietnam trip with asking about, well, when is the return date on this one-way flight vacation?
At the time that you were assisting them on November 7th of 2023 with the travel, had they decided when they were coming back from Vietnam?
They were undecided, other than the fact that they were going to, whether it was prior to the bar mitzvah or just before the bar mitzvah, they didn't know how long they were going to be gone.
But they were coming back for the bar mitzvah?
Oh, definitely. They wouldn't miss it for the world.
And there was also this text message that was sent right after the verdict. And take a look. It's Wendy Adelson talking to her mother, Donna. Donna first tells Wendy there is a verdict, meaning in Charlie's case. Wendy's response is, I love you very much. Call me if you can, if you feel like you can. Donna's response, it's a bit strange, but it says, your brother protected you for years. Now you are not guilty. Your lawyer took very good care of you. You can bury me in the dress that I bought for my grandson's bar mitzvah. Vinny, this is one of those texts that the state used in their case, but now the defense is using this bar mitzvah issue as something to show that she was not intending to flee, but perhaps had some really dark thoughts that she was struggling with.
Yeah, Julie Janae is going to stick around. Great reporting as always. That dress. Let's bring back in our think tank. Still with me, Rick King, Nima Romani, Matthew Mangino. Rick King, I'm thinking about how do you prove that you're going to come back? Well, do they have a receipt? Do they have a picture of this dress, which could be the biggest piece of evidence in the form of a dress since Monica Lewinsky?
So that's always just thinking, how do you prove something that has not happened, or how do you that you don't know what's going to happen? It's difficult. It's difficult. But here's my thing for this case, man, is that the entire case for me has not been about Donna. It's been about everybody else. And until we start putting her names on the lips of the jurors, I think we're going to be in the same place.
Well, I think we are. She was going one way to Vietnam. One way to Vietnam. She said she's going to come back. The proof of her coming back was we would never, ever miss the bar mitzvah? Matthew Mangino, your thoughts about the bar mitzvah?
Well, you know, Vinny, one of the things that judges always admonish jurors is not to check their common sense in at the door. Okay, so here's a person who is looking for a place to go that doesn't have extradition because she wants to go and clear her head. Now, I've never been to Vietnam, and I'm sure it's a beautiful place. I don't know that I would pick Vietnam as the place I want to go to clear my head, and only after I determined that they didn't have any extradition treaty with the United States. So, I mean, this is a real stretch. Yeah, you know, one thing that I would say for Donna is she has some good friends, and they're willing to testify under oath about these issues. And, you know, I think it makes for some interesting sort of sidebars here, but it's not going to carry the day.
Nima, does it do anything for Donna Adelson showing the jury at a minimum that she still has friends who believe in her?
It does do something because she has to somehow explain this away. And I can tell you, I've been to Vietnam, but I never got an emergency
I knew that.
visa.
I should have. I was going to say, of course, Nima's been there, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I didn't get an emergency visa days after my son or blood relative was convicted of murder, nor did I search many times whether it was an extradition country and even say that when I was arrested by the FBI there in Miami. This is absolutely the worst and most damning piece of evidence. I'm not saying the prosecution's case has been stellar. They may still not get past reasonable doubt, but this is by far and away the one-way ticket, the extradition, the emergency application. She never thought she would be under the prosecution's spotlight. And when she did, she tried to run. Now, can the state prove murder beyond a reasonable doubt under a solicitation principle or conspiracy theory? I don't know, but this is really bad for the defense, Vinny.
Yeah, see, Rick is waving that pen. Don't throw that pen now. You just wave it. You don't throw it. Okay. Rick.
But your angles are really good tonight. I will tell you that.
You do look great. Rick, Nima, and Matthew staying with us. When we come back, jailhouse informants, interesting testimony and video from inside the jail of Donna Adelson. Wait till you see this.
At some point, did she prepare a script for you of exactly what she wanted you to testify to?
She did.
I'm going to approach and show you. Whose notebook is this?
That's mine.
Okay. And whose handwriting is this on this first page?
That's Donna's, Miss Adelson.
Okay, so she wrote this in your notebook?
Yes, ma'am.
This says that Kay told you that she told Charlie on the night of the murder that some friends of hers went to Tallahassee and killed him. Did Kay ever tell you that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. She asked him to give her the 1/3 of $1 million that he was going to pay his sister so that she could relocate with her children to Miami. He went crazy on her. He said that he was going, that was going to be an offer to his brother-in-law not to kill him. Did Kay ever say any of that to you?
No, ma'am.
But that's what Mrs. Adelson wanted you to come in and tell this jury.
Yes, ma'am.
Generally, I don't like jailhouse informants. As a former prosecutor, I think they make the cases look a little desperate, a little dirty, but sometimes you can use them. This is a jailhouse informant who brought receipts, like literally a script that she claims was written by Donna Adelson. Court TV anchor Julie Janae still live with us outside the courthouse in Tallahassee. All right, Julia, the defense now bringing evidence about this jailhouse informant, Adrena Bernhardt. What did the defense do here?
Vinny, I think it's important to make sure people know. Like you said, prosecutors usually don't use or don't prefer to use jailhouse informants. And in this case, they weren't the ones who initially called these witnesses. It's Donna Adelson herself who actually identified Patricia Byrd and Adrena Bernhardt to the court because she said they had evidence that would help her case. And then that's when the state went to interview them. So let's just let everyone know what the players are here. You have Drina Bernhardt, who said that Donna called her her jail daughter, her sunshine. And she was in the Leon County Jail with Donna Adelson for many months before this encounter. And Catherine McBanois is who the defense says that Donna, it's almost confusing to get into, but Drina was in jail with Katie at one point, and Donna wanted her to come forward and say that Katie set the Adelsons up. So that would really help the defense, and it would go along with that extortion theory that Charlie Adelson put out. So then today the jurors saw this surveillance video that you see on your screen to show that not only was it Donna who was doing any writing, but that it was Drina Bernhardt as well. So you see them there. They're sitting at that table in the bottom right of the screen. Donna's almost out of the view of the camera, but Drina is there as well at the table, and she's writing in a notebook. And that's something I think the defense really wants this jury to see, since this letter written by Donna is at issue and in evidence here. There's a tearing out of a page. Donna looks at that page. Donna gives it back. And then in another part of the video, Donna is writing on the page, and she's continuing to write for a while. And then at the end of it all, you see Drina Bernhardt, this jailed daughter. She actually gets up while this writing is going on and leaves the table. So the defense is hoping that the jury sees that Drina was very active in helping with this script writing, though we don't know for sure what writing is going on at this table. But that's the allegation, that this jailhouse informant was telling the truth when she said that she heard Catherine McBanois set Donna Adelson up, but that when the state investigated and questioned her about that, then she changed her tune.
Wow. All right, how about the other jailhouse informant? Because they both came up during the defense case today.
Right. Patricia Byrd, again, someone that the defense would have initially encountered. That means a defense investigator went to interview Patricia Byrd. Now, at the time, back in the pretrial, many months ago, the defense wanted the judge to depose these witnesses. They wanted to preserve their testimony because they said they might be unavailable. They might leave the jail. They might leave town. They might be back on drugs, was something that was presented by the defense. So here's a listen back to what Patricia Byrd ultimately told the state, and this is what she said on the stand as a state witness. And then you'll hear today what the defense investigator said this informant initially told them.
Once you and Donna Adelson became close friends, did she ever talk to you about her pending case, this case?
She did.
When y'all would have those conversations, did you ever outright ask her whether she did what she's accused of?
I did.
And what did she say to that?
She said she did. It was to keep her grandkids, but it wasn't supposed to go that far.
And when you interviewed Miss Byrd, did you tell Miss Byrd that Mrs. Adelson was going to pay her for her testimony?
No.
Okay. Specifically, did you tell Miss Byrd that Donna Adelson was going to buy her a piece of land?
No.
What about a trailer?
No.
What about veneers for her teeth?
No.
What about a small vehicle for her and her children?
No.
Okay. Did Miss Byrd tell you that Mrs. Adelson had offered those items to her?
No.
Did Miss Byrd tell you that Mrs. Adelson confessed to her?
No.
So, Vinny, you mentioned that her friends are very loyal to her, but these two informants that she identified to be helpful to her case, according to the defense, they turned on her after they talked to the state.
Yeah, flip-flopping a little bit there. All right, Julie Jade, great work. We will continue to speak with you during the course of this trial, but get some rest. I think we're getting closer and closer to those deliberations and closing arguments. Let's bring back in our tank Rick King, Nima Rahmani, Matthew Mangino. Matt, let's talk about these informants. They flip-flopped, right? So they're originally identified by the defense and they flip. Why should we believe them at all about anything? Like, if they were testifying for the defense, the prosecution would be jumping up and down saying, don't believe these people. So why should any of us believe anything that any of them ever say?
Yeah, that's difficult, and that's a good question, Vinny. But the thing that gets my attention about this, we talk about, Donna Adelson as the mastermind, and I think this kind of reveals her naivete. She trusted, at least for it appears, she trusted these women in jail to be witnesses for her, to give some story to the police that she actually wrote up. I mean, there's an expert that says it's in her handwriting, what she wanted these people to say. She then turns those names over to the police. The police go in and investigate it, and these witnesses turn on her and say, hey, this is her handwritten note. She wanted us to lie. I think it really goes to the point that Donna Adelson, well, not maybe a mastermind, may be a bit naive about how things work, certainly in county jail.
And Rick, they're called now as prosecution witnesses. I don't know. I don't know what to take away from them.
It's tough, man, because the flip-flopping and just the fact that, when you look at a jailhouse witness, you always say, well, what's in it for them? What are they getting out of this? And I think that's the thing that juries look at all the time when we do this. When we bring these jailhouse informants in to come talk in a criminal case, the question always to the jury is, well, why? Why are they here? What's their take on this? And I think that's the part that hurts the state. And I just think all of it's just ugly and makes the case slimier, I think.
Nima, what did you think of the video, Nima? Did that convince you that there might be something else other than what the prosecution is saying here?
I think the video was somewhat helpful. I also like the call logs with the attorneys and Donna's husband, Harvey, all that being contemporaneous. But generally speaking, I'm with you. I hate these types of jailhouse informants, even cooperating witnesses. Listen, I get it. When you're prosecuting someone who isn't the trigger man or woman in any criminal organization, and this isn't the mob, but the allegation is that she ordered the hit, you got to peel back the layers of the onion. But when you're relying on folks like this, Catherine McFenawat saying that she was involved, Luis Rivera saying she wasn't, it's really tough, Vinny. Really tough.
Nima, Romani, Matthew Mangino, Rick King, great to see you. Thanks so much. When we come back, I'll reveal something else you need to know tonight. Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinny Politan Investigates, the dramatic case against Donna Adelson continues. How strong is the actual evidence against her? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinny Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinny Politan Investigates, coming up next, only on Court TV.
It's the case the whole country is talking about. What you need to know before we take you inside the courtroom each day in the Matriarch Mastermind murder trial.
Opening statements with Julie Grant. Mornings at 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Take a look at the big board. Cheerleader charge, a story everyone's talking about today. A University of Kentucky cheerleader charged in connection to the death of a newborn baby. A newborn baby. Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas has more for us tonight.
That was 21-year-old Laken Snelling, the University of Kentucky cheerleader, who's now been arrested after her own newborn baby was found in her closet. She arrived to court today for her first appearance and arraignment following her arrest on Saturday, August 30th. She's facing charges of tampering with physical evidence, abuse of a corpse, and concealing the birth of an infant. Lexington police were dispatched for an unresponsive infant at a home, Snelling's home, where that infant was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say Snelling admitted to giving birth and also admitted to trying to hide it by placing the cleaning items inside a black trash bag, a trash bag that also included the baby wrapped in a towel. Snelling has since posted $100,000 bond and is now under home incarceration with no ankle monitor, ordered to live with her parents. Her next court appearance is scheduled for September 26th.
Tragic story. Of course, we will continue to monitor all the developments in this story out of Kentucky. Thanks to Cody Thomas. All right, take a look at your screens, folks. We have a child who needs your help tonight. This is Callie Cook-Muir. Callie, just 15 years old, missing from Concord, California since August 20th. If you see Callie, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Concord Police Department out in California. That number's on your screen right now. Let's see if we can get Callie to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.